Just moved in my new house today. Moving was hard, but I got squared away. Bells started ringing and chains rattled loud. I knew I'd moved in a haunted house. Still I made up in my mind to stay. Nothing was gonna drive me away.
Hey guys, obviously not in the shop. Guys, we're getting ready to start a new vlog. A little bit different twist. Instead of prop building, we're going to do some haunt prep work. And it's basically out here in the front yard. As you can tell, all the bushes, the trees, and everything are getting a little bit overgrown. I trimmed them last spring. They need their fall clipping. And in order to get my haunt set up, my tents up, make sure I have all my pathways and the room I need for all my displays, they need to be trimmed. And while I don't start setting up for about another month yet, month and a half yet, these things are going to be way too shaggy out here if I let them go, till the last week in September. So I'm going to do a little bit of yard work, and we're going to start over here. I got the little bush to clip, the big bush to clip, the tree to clip, that big bush over there to clip, and that one. The flowers and the plants that you see in the gardens and the roses, those won't get clipped until the day before I put up the tents, which will be last part of September, first part of October. But we're going to get a little landscaping done here today to start the vlog off, and then we'll go ahead and move into the shop. Oh, I forgot to mention, I got some arborvitae bushes down here along the driveway. Those need to be clipped too. Ain't going to do those today though. The ones on the front yard are the ones I'm worried about today. The ones on the driveway can wait for a couple of weeks. Well, hello people. Looks like we've got a small rain delay. As you can see up there, the sky doesn't look too bad over there. You get up over here though, clouds are coming. We saw them coming in. We didn't think it was going to drop any rain. Started thundering, getting real noisy. Someone's playing the bass drums upstairs, I guess. And it's starting to come down pretty hard. So we're taking a breather, seeing if it's going to be a rain delay or have the game called on account of rain. So having a cigar break. We're going to sit here and wait for a little bit. Hopefully it does keep raining. I can pack my stuff up and go into the shop and do some work in the shop. I'd rather be doing Halloween stuff, serious prop building, than out doing prop prep. But anyway, that's where we're at. Well, not too bad. It was just kind of a passing cloud. Blue sky we had over there is a little more cloudy now. It blew over. Which meant we got to get out here. We got the bushes done, the tree done, tall bush over there, and this one done. Which means I will not have to do it in September. And I've got my helper over there helping. Yeah, she's a good helper. Let's see. Other yard work I need to do, which I will not be doing until the end of September, a day or two before I set up the tent, are the roses here. Those all have to be clipped back because we actually have displays that sit right where the roses are, so those get cut back a couple inches above the ground. We got the hosta and the irises. Ground cover in there needs to be clipped back or pulled out. And then we got that going, which needs to be cleaned out, and including that rose bush, which we whittle back pretty far usually. That's where the big blow-up cat goes, and if I leave it like that, it's going to get popped. So prep work out here for today is pretty much done. We've got to wait till my garbage cans get emptied, and we filled up just about 4 of them today. Only other thing left to do are the bushes on the arborvitaes. Like I said, with the 4 cans full, I don't have room to put the clippings for that. So we're done for a week or two until all the 4 cans, we gotta whittle them in with our garbage and stuff in the house, are emptied. And then we can come out here and get started on the driveway, and that's a all day long project. So that'll be probably week after next we'll do the driveway. But with that, my hunt prep work is pretty much finished for today. So let's get out in the shop. I've got, well, let's not us get out in the shop, but yeah, next segment you'll be out in the shop with us. The wall video, which I uploaded last night, nice short video, only about 2 minutes. But if you haven't watched it yet, go over to my channel and watch it, because you got to see what the final thing looked like. It's still set up. I gotta get it taken down and put away, and then we'll get started on the next series of props for the hunt. And that will be next segment, folks. Hey, made it into the shop. Been in here for a good hour and a half, trying to get the old pump station wall, which you guys saw the video of, taken apart and put away. The wall itself is put away. I've still got the piping, the fan blade, and the grill I need to get it put away. Only problem is my doorway was blocked, so I had to clean out my doorway because those pipes go in there. But this is going to be the last time I bring these up. I wanted to show you those. 15 of them. I was going to originally go up to 20 this year, but just buy 20 of them. So I'm stopping at 15 because I want to buy more of that little guy over there, and that's that skeleton dog. I only bought one. I'm going to start collecting those, I think. And then I'll get more of these next year. But the main reason why I still have them out here in the shop instead of put away up in the attic where they belong is the next project involves those skeletons. A good portion of them we're going to be trying a new corpsing technique on. I was watching, I got a video on YouTube. Don't remember who it was. I think the guy's retired. But he had a skeleton, and instead of doing just the regular paint tarp corpsing on it, it looked like he had done that and then built it up with something. So it looked more like skin, and there was a light bulb inside the chest cavity, and the chest cavity glowed. And that caught my interest. I need 5 skeletons this year for my sewer room. And we had 3 skeletons in the sewer room last year, and it was just plain skeletons. They just kind of looked blah. So after I saw the picture of those funked out skeletons in the video, I figured I'm going to try my hand at it, and I'm going to do 5 of them up for my sewer room this year. I'm going to start there, and if it turns out good, I might do up a bunch more to go over in the torture chamber room as well. So that's the next project. As soon as I get that stuff put away and those out of the way so I can get to my tables, which are sitting behind me. So we're going to try a new corpsing technique. Okay, now we're back in the shop. It's actually the next day since the last segment. Got my errands ran today. It's actually time to get started on the next prop. We went and hit Costco today. I did not pick up any more of these, even though they still had a ton of them. I've got, like I showed you in the last segment, I've got 15 of them. That's enough for this year. But they did have more of these skelly dogs. I'd only bought the one. I figure since I'm not getting any more of those, I was going to branch off and get a bunch of these. Says I'm going to try the same technique I'm going to do on that guy. I'm going to try on a couple of these. So we're now up to 6 of the skelly dogs total. But I'm going to get those set off to the side, and we're going to get working on this. Now, in my hunt last year, I put my first pneumatics in, and it was the water blasters. They just sat out in the middle of the pond, and when they're triggered, they shoot a jet of air up, or a jet of water up in the air, and make a loud popping noise. And this year, we're doing the ponds a little bit differently, and the mechanisms are going to be very visible. And I don't want that. So I want to figure out a way of hiding those mechs for the water blasters. And I was thinking it'd be neat to have some skeletons sitting, or sitting, over the water blaster, so the water actually shoot up, directly in front of them. And that would help disguise the mechanisms a bit. And I explained about the corpsing technique that I saw in video. And it's basically, once you get your skeleton in position, you take the painter's tarp and heat treat it, you know, like you normally do with corpsing, to, you know, give yourself more of a shell over the skeleton. And then using great stuff over the top of that to provide more of a skin and more texture, and you can do some molding and stuff with it. Got 15 cans of great stuff. Don't know how much I'm going to need and how many skeletons I'm going to end up doing, but that's basically the process of it. Right now I need to get the skelly dogs put away, and then we're going to get working on getting these guys into their position. You know, getting them into the pose I want them in. I'm going to have to play around with the joints a little bit and what have you. Okay, another segment for you lucky people out there. I got Morgan, my helper, out here.
Hi.
Hi. And by the way, the last vlog I had you in, Emerald Gypsy Heart said to tell you hello. So do you got anything to say to Emerald Gypsy Heart? Morgan?
Hello.
Okay, there you go. There you go, Emerald Gypsy Heart. Okay, skeletons. Got them all posed. And what I ended up having to do on the legs, when you get your Costco skeletons, they're designed to come straight out. They're not designed to be in that position. The pivot point on the hips up here won't allow it. So I ended up having to take the legs all the way apart, re-drill a hole through it, and then reattach them. And then I put a couple of these black screws in on the other side going through to lock them into place. Did the same thing on both the knees, the elbows, and the shoulders, putting the black screws in. So these things are frozen into place. Okay, did the same thing on that skeleton. Now, one thing I ended up having to do, I didn't even think about when I first did it, when I got this thing assembled, I didn't have this rod in here, and the guy was just leaning too far forward. He was too top heavy. So I ended up putting a rod in there, and I just zip tied the skeleton to it, and I pulled the body back. And I ended up doing the same thing on this guy. He wasn't leaning forward all that much, wasn't that much pressure, so I just drilled a hole in the back here and stuck the rod up, and then pulled him back about 2 inches, which is all he really needed. Now, let's get this guy turned around here. When this is in the haunt, and if you're curious, I keep bringing up the water blasters. If you want to see what I mean by the water blasters, go back to my setup videos for last year. I show them fairly well in there. If not, you can wait till this year's setup videos and you'll see the water blasters. But it's basically just an L-shaped tube with a couple legs on it, you know, sticking off the side, you know, so it doesn't wobble. And you hook your air compressor up to and a solenoid. And the solenoid only opens for a couple of seconds, but it's enough to shoot air from the air compressor up the pipe, which is full of water. Okay, and the water ends up geysering out. And you can get it to go 10 to 12 feet up in the air if you have your pressure right. And when the water escapes out of the tube, it makes a loud popping noise. The more pressure you use, the higher the water goes and the louder the popping noise. Problem is, you can see the dang thing sitting in the pond, and that's what these skeletons are for. Once I get these all done, the main tube that the water shoots out of will be right here by the feet. So the whole water will go right up past the skeleton and rain down on the skeleton when it comes down. So it'll be kind of a distraction. People will be looking at these and what have you and having it go off. That's the intent. Now, with this, at this point, the skeletons are in their final positions, or right where I need to have them at. I need to get my clear tarp out, painter's drop cloth out. We're going to take the heat gun over there on the table, and we'll wrap the tarp around the legs, take a heat trimmer to it, and kind of corpse it. I got to get these things all sealed up. Now, I'm not going to do all the skeleton. I'm basically just worried about this here. This part here, so I'll heat wrap that, and then the chest cavity down into the pelvis will get it, and then the upper portion of the arm, because of the spaces in here. I don't want any spaces, so I'm going to do the corpsing technique on just those areas alone to kind of build those up before I put the great stuff on. Okay, end of the day for me. I'm calling it quits. My mood and attitude is going downhill pretty good, so I think I need to get away from this for a little while. Do something else. So I'm gonna get myself cheered back up because I'm kind of down in the dumps at the moment. But before I call it quits, I wanted to show you progress. Went through, showed you that I had them in position, and I just got done doing some limited corpsing on them. And I explained why I'm doing, did it the way I'm doing it. Got that one done, got this one done. Now, tomorrow, you get out here, we're going to start applying the grate stuff over there to these and building these up a little bit. I have no idea how it's going to turn out. It's just something I thought of. I figured I'd give it a try, and which is why I'm only going to be doing these two skeletons. Nice thing is, I'll be applying it to the spots I've already got corpse with the plastic, and I'll be staying away from the bones until I see what it looks like. If it doesn't turn out all that good, I can cut it off. All I gotta do is cut the plastic and it should come off, hopefully. But we'll find out tomorrow. That's gonna be tomorrow's project. Hey, good morning, people. And yes, I got a good night's sleep last night. I'm in a little bit better mood today. Sorry about my attitude last segment. Went through, showed you that guy, went over my processes on him. I have not shown you this. This is the project my daughter's been working on. She's gone through and done double coat on the brick, and she did the grout lines yesterday. She's done a really good job on it so far. There are some touch-ups, and she's asked me to go back through and do the touch-up. So I will be doing that probably a little bit later today. We're letting it dry. She still has a pipe to do on that yet. Now, on to these guys. Getting ready to apply grate stuff over the entire skeleton. For doing this, I'll be doing some of it just straight out of the can. Others, I'll spray it on out of the can, use a putty knife on it. And for a major part of it, I'll be using my hands. And for those of you that work with grate stuff, you know once you get it on your hands or on anything, it doesn't really like to come off. So, I'm going to be wearing gloves. One of the few times I do a project where I'm wearing gloves, but I'll be doing gloves. I'll basically be coating the arms, the head, the chest, and the legs. And I'll probably do a little bit on the hands too. We'll put a nice healthy coat on it, let it dry, and then probably next week when I get back into town, I'll come out with some sandpaper and we'll go through and we'll start adding some detail work to it. Today's just basically going to be getting the foam on the prop and setting it off the side to dry. Okay, I've gotten one done. It went from that to that. And it is, like I thought it was going to be, extremely messy. Doesn't look anything like I expected it would. And I am still going to do the second one. This is going to have to dry over the weekend. I can't do anything else with it until Monday, which is when I'll be back into town, and then I'll get a couple sharp blades out and my sanding paper, and we'll go through and start forming it up, knocking some of that foam down. It's just a little too thick, and the grate stuff is expanding a little bit too much, so there is going to be some hand carving to do on this to get it to look halfway reasonable. What the finished version is going to be looking like, I haven't the foggiest. I won't know until I get done with the carving aspect. But since I've gotten one done, I've got to get the second one done, so they both kind of similar match, or it's going to look really weird. So gotta get that one spray foamed. I am probably not going to do any more of the skeletons in this fashion until I get these two totally done and I see what it looks like, because I don't want to go through and ruin 15 skeletons. So there's a progress update for you. Okay, second skeleton is done. First skeleton over there. I had forgotten on these how much these things, how much the Great Stuff foam actually expands once you put it on. And it's like, wow. Came across a decision. I will not be doing this method again. It's just a pain in the ass to do. Extremely messy. I went through one shirt. These things I'm going to have to let dry overnight. And since I'm going out of town for work tomorrow, I'm not going to have a chance to do anything with them tomorrow. It's going to be Monday before I can get back in here and do anything. So the foam will be all nice and set up. But I'm going to have to come back in with some sandpaper and kind of even it out, clean it up so it looks more like a figure instead of a glob. Especially on the face over there on that one. One technique I did try to do, well, I did two different techniques on the hands, the feet, and the skull. On that one, I sprayed the foam right on it, on the hands, the feet, and the skull, and I went through and kind of wiped it off. And it turned out okay. I'm going to have a lot of work to clean those up, though. On the hands, feet, and skull on this one, I sprayed the Great Stuff right into my hand and then just kind of smeared it over the hands and the feet. And I do like that look a lot better. And I'm thinking if you took your skeleton, got it into the pose that you want it in, don't do any corpsing with the plastic to it, but just did the Great Stuff in your hand, went over and smeared it over the skeleton. Once it dried, it wouldn't look half bad. So I'm probably going to do 3 more skeletons in that method, but not today. I want to get these 2 done before I start messing with the Great Stuff and any more skeletons. So that'll probably be something I'll do next week. Right now, since I'm effectively done with those skeletons, what we're going to end up doing is Morgan's wall. And I just had her out here and was talking to her. I'm going to go over and do some touch-ups on this. There's some spots, down here in the grout lines. You can see some white stuff. I got to go over and touch those up. Since I'll have the blackout, I need to go over and touch up the pipe on the inside. Get that taken care of. And then I got to get some white in the lettering. This thing's got, what, 5 different sayings on it. They all died here. Frankie ate here. Wolfie drank here. Drac was here. For a good time, call 966 Howl. Okay, all those I need to go back through and do all the lettering in white. And Morgan's decided she wants yellow in the wording, and the piping is going to be blue on the outside. So I'm going to get my touch-ups done, and hopefully later today the little darling can come out here and do her thing on, finish up her work on it. But that's my next project. I'm going to get started on that now, and that's probably about an hour job. Hey guys, just about dinner time. Actually, it's past dinner time, but I wanted to kind of catch you up. My experiment with the skellies kind of worked, kind of didn't. That was the first one I did here, and he definitely looks like he's had something toxic poured on him. He's melting and everything else. And like I said in one of my earlier clips, I'm not sure if I like it. I did go through and clean the feet up because the feet were stuck together and just totally caked with Great Stuff. You couldn't even tell there were feet there, so I went ahead and cleaned those up. Wife suggested, other than that, to leave that as is, so I don't end up with this. This is one I went through with sandpaper and a razor blade and tried to clean them up. Now the reason I don't have very many self-made figures in my hunt is because I can't carve worth a shit. And it kind of looks like crap. And I'll admit it, it does look like crap. But it's, I either paint them up and use them, or I throw them in the trash, and I don't want to waste a Costco skeleton. So we're going to be using them in the hunt. I'll get them painted up. Wife likes that one a little bit better over there, though. And I kind of do too. It does look like his skin and everything's melted off. should be interesting once he's painted and everything. And this one might look better with paint on it too. It's just kind of hard to say right now. Something else I wanted to show you is the wall over here. Another one of my water features. A couple of vlogs back I mentioned my daughter wanted to help out. She did all the painting on here. I had to go through and do some very minor touch-up painting, you know, on seams and, you know, in corners and stuff that she missed. But she did a damn good job. I was very surprised. She was very, very good at this. So that project's done, and I might give you a clip tonight. My daughter wants to see how the wall glows. So we'll probably come out here. I still got my black lights out here. So we'll come out and hook one of those up, and we'll get you some nighttime footage too, hopefully, of that. Nothing major like the other wall. Other project, I brought out a third one. I've got 3 of these cardboard barrels. Last year we dug them out, put them in the haunt, and I had some paper emblems I printed out, you know, skulls or the radiation symbol or whatever. We just kind of stuck them on there, and by the end of the haunt, the paper was getting so saturated from being out overnight and the dew and everything, it just looked like crap. So I was talking to the wife, the leering skeleton in the toxic barrel, which I did a little earlier in the season. We went and painted blue, wrote down the word toxic on it. Got to thinking, I'm going to base coat those white, paint them blue, and we'll paint on the radiation symbol and, you know, that type of stuff on them, get them painted on. Reason why I have them out here now is after dinner I'm going to get my paint gun out, and I got to base coat both skeletons. And I figure if I'm going to base coat the skeletons and I'm going to have the paint mixed up and everything, I might as well base coat these. You know, get a good hefty coat of white on it, and then next week when I get back into town I could paint the skeletons and get started painting on the barrels. That's the tentative plan for right now. Okay, there you go, folks. The wall that Morgan did, all I did was some minor touch-ups. She did all the painting. Her first glowy item, and she's all excited to see it in the haunt. Well, with that and with this, it's time to say, stay spooky out there and stay toxic.